been a pretty interesting and difficult year, and it continues to be. But I mean, I'm excited about a lot of the stuff that we're building. A lot of the stuff that we're doing on Instagram. I'm excited to talk about that. How's the family?
Family's good. Look, the boys are nuts. We've got three of them, which is a lot, turns out. But I don't know. The little one's the easy one, which is surprising. Are the girls?
They're good. They're good. We got to get the kids together again sometime. I know our especially Augie, my youngest, really has a thing for I think she and the Masseri boy clan get together, get along pretty well. It's pretty fun to see them together.
Yeah. Well, I think the Moseri boys have a thing for Augie. Like they don't listen to anything I say ever. And when we hang out with Augie just directs them like she's like the conductor of the entire, orchestra. I don't know how to begin to wrap my head around what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's got a charisma. I'm not sure where she got that from. It's not me. But yeah. Well, hopefully soon we'll be able to get everyone together and hang out more. But it's good to see you guys doing so well. So yeah. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Where do you want to start today?
I don't know, but we got good people in the comments here. I see Tank, one of my favorite memers, going
Yeah,
on.
I mean he's the best.
Yeah, Tank's the best. Fiji runs the Facebook app. A bunch of people showing up, so it's always good. Yeah, I mean, look, I thought it'd be good to talk about creators today. There's just a lot going on. You've been talking about them a lot more recently, but we've been doing work for creators at Facebook and at Instagram for years now. So I thought it'd be fun just to chat about what's coming up. Before we jump into, who are some of your favorites?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what category you're talking about. I mean, probably, I follow a lot of surfers and foilers. I mean, I'm pretty into the sport. So, people like Kai Lenny and, Lucas Chumbo, I mean, are obviously, awesome at this. I think Kai is he's like magical on a foil and seeing all the stuff that he does. I mean, it sort of helped me get into the sport, just watching him, foil down a huge wave, then turn around, go back upwind, up the wave, do a flip off the wave. It's like, oh my God. I mean, it's like unreal. The stuff that he and the people who are doing that kind of stuff do. And I mean, once I had a chance to talk to him about, how important Instagram and social media overall were to him and his business. And it was really cool to hear because, I mean, obviously, if you're in surfing, I mean, you can win prizes in competitions, but that's not, massive in terms of economically. A lot of it is about basically the sponsorships and the deals and, being able to represent the awesome stuff that they're doing online. They really are sort of creators of a different type in terms of the art and extreme stuff that they get to do and can pull off. And it's just, I don't know, I just find it super inspiring. I think it's cool to watch. When I'm not in a place where I can be in the water, when I can be in the water, then that's awesome, but I don't look anything like that. But I don't know, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah. Tank says you gave them Tank Sinatra, the creator, you gave them meme gold when he went foiling, so he wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, that photo of me foiling where I put on way too much sunscreen. I mean, it's just like
it was like 80s. It was so strong. It was so strong.
Well, it's even more extreme than that. I had sunscreen on. I mean, when I'm a pretty pale person, so I mean, if I'm out in Hawaii, it's pretty strong there, and I'm gonna get burnt, and wanna stay healthy. So I do it. But in that particular case, I was just kind of foiling around, and then I noticed that there was this paparazzi guy following us. So I was like, oh, I don't want him to recognize me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put a ton of sunscreen on my face, and then you won't know who I am. But that backfired. That really, I really should have thought that one through more. So instead, he took these photos, and it's like, what is this guy doing? And it's like, yeah, no, that's fair. That is way too much sunscreen. No one needs to be wearing that much sunscreen. But there is always, of course, this difference when you're when you're in the water, you're doing some kind of extreme sport, the delta between like how cool you think you look and like and kind of the worst photo that kind of a paparazzi or someone can take is pretty funny. But I think it's you just want to have a sense of humor about the stuff. It's all good. I'm glad people can laugh about it. I laugh about it. I think it's pretty funny.
I was running away from the alarm. Someone's alarm on the street was going
Yeah,
off here.
I heard.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you can laugh about it. I'm not sure I'd be as big a man as you have been. Looks like Adam the creator's enjoying that too. I'm seeing him in the comments.
I mean, it's all good. I mean, look, there's been a lot worse about me. So I'm, it's if someone wants to post about a sunscreen meme, I'm cool. I'm cool. We can happy to give the internet some laughs for that.
All right, everybody on the comments, if you got questions, please ask them either in the poll or in the comments. We'll try to grab them. It looks like with a lot of people, it's happening so fast, it's hard. Before we jump in, though, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is just how important I think it is that we focus on helping creators make a living over the long run. So we've talked a bit, I mean, you talked a bit more about the audio stuff on the Facebook app a couple of weeks ago, but what are you most excited about upcoming in terms of helping creators make a living?
Yeah, so first, to take a step back, I think the vision of the world that we're going for, I think in almost any positive vision for the future, a lot more people are getting to engage in kind of creative work rather than just jobs that they find monotonous, right? So I think that's, you want to give people the tools to do that, both to just as a hobby express themselves, but ideally you want to make it so that can be a job for millions of people, right? And you and I have talked about this, how our goal for, across the whole company is to be able to support millions of people having a job doing creative work. And in order to do that, there's just a bunch of different streams of stuff that you need to do. And, you've walked through a lot of this stuff. I mean, a bunch of it is creative tools, right? So that way you can just create great stuff across all these different mediums: video, audio, text, photos, just emerging media, games, stuff like that. Then you of course want to make it so that you can connect with your community and grow your community, and that's a big part of social media and something that we've historically done. But one of the bigger pieces that I think still really needs to get built out, and it feels like we're at this inflection point now, is around monetization. Because if there's going to be people's job, they need to be able to make money doing it. And there are lots of different models around this, and I think a lot of different people are going to mix and match different things. And it's not going to be one size fits all. And I think a lot of creators aren't just going to do one piece. But subscriptions are going to be a big piece of it. We have tools like tipping and stars, which we've rolled out on Facebook, and I think we're going to want to expand across the other apps at some point. Obviously there are areas like in the video work where there's some kind of revenue share on kind of advertising where creators can get a cut of that. But increasingly, I think some of the areas that we're focused on, and this is like the new stuff that we wanted to talk through today, is around how creators can plug into commerce, right? And basically help with the kind of sponsorships that they do across different apps. So, the three things, that we've recently done a lot of work on, right? And that you're, and you obviously can jump in and add whatever detail you want on this, because a lot of this is work that your teams are doing. But the three new projects that I know we haven't really talked about publicly to date, but I think are going to be a big part of this vision. One is creator shops and creator commerce, right? So we've done a bunch of work around commerce. So, businesses, small businesses can set up shops on Instagram, on Facebook, can sell stuff online, right? And that's been especially important in the last year. A lot of physical stores have had to close during the lockdowns, but online stays open. It can be a more personalized and convenient experience, and that's awesome. And of course, we see a lot of creators setting up shops too. And one part of being of kind of a creator business model is you create great content, and then you can sell stuff. And so having creator shops is awesome, and I think is something that is just going to be really exciting. A second part that's really connected to that is around basically affiliates. So, creators can build up an audience of people who follow and are interested in their content. But whether they're selling their own stuff or someone else's, people look to creators for recommendations about what's good, especially in the spaces that they're, the experts on and are creating around, right? So, going back to what we were talking about before, if Kai Lenny is on a KT foil, then like the next time I'm like trying to, consider what kind of board I'm going to get, I'm at least going to go to the KT website or try to check out some of their stuff. Even though I have to say I'm more of a lift guy myself. But so shout out to the Lift Foils team, who I think just does incredible work on that. But ideally you'd have, whether it's Kai or different kinds of creators, I think should be able to get a cut of the sales of things that they're recommending, and we should, build up an affiliate and kind of recommendation marketplace to enable that to all happen. So that's the second piece that we're working on that I think is going to be quite exciting. And then the third piece, which I think ties to this as well, is basically a marketplace for matching up creators with branded content, right? So the other way that these folks build that people can build a business is they do awesome stuff, and then and then people want to sponsor them. But right now we're not offering tools for that to happen, for that kind of matching to take place. So we're building those kind of tools up, and that I think is going to be a really exciting thing. And we're gonna build that out, and it's going to have very favorable terms to creators. So we're not building this from the perspective of us trying to make a lot of money. Our view is that if we help creators make more money on their content, that'll help a broader creator economy emerge, which will make it so that there's more content across the services, more ways to connect, and that'll be awesome. But those three things, it's creator shops, affiliate marketplace, so creators can get a cut of the things that they're recommending, that they're really creating value and helping to sell, and then the third one around branded content marketplace. So all exciting stuff. I don't know if you want to jump in and add anything on those, but those are three big areas that we've been working on.
Yeah, no, I love all of that. On the last one about helping brands and creators connect, I'm personally really excited because it feels like we should be able to help brands find creators that are uniquely aligned with what they're trying to do, and vice versa. And branded content is, the economic engine behind the creator ecosystem in a lot of ways, but it doesn't work unless it really feels right, unless you're really excited about who you're working with. And so I just think matchmaking there is something that we can add a lot of value for. But I think Kai's in the comments, man. I just saw him show up. Let's see.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments. It's scrolling by so quickly. I'm kind of having a hard time, but
Kai's here though. Kai just said you. I don't know what that means.
Well, hey, how's it going? I'm glad you could stop by.
Oh my God! It's have you surfed with him?
I don't think you can really call what I do surfing with Kai. I think I've sometimes been in the same place with him while he does what he does, and I just try to stay on the foil. But no, actually, Kai was the first person. I used to play around with these e-foils, which are pretty fun. But Kai was the first person who's like, look, you got to get a real foil, and that just I think that changed my life. That it's just so much fun. It's a workout. Pumping it is awesome. It's a lot lighter. It's like you can catch waves and swells a lot more easily. So no, yeah, Kai has a big personal influence on me.
I don't know if I would ever try surfing in the same vicinity as Kai. All right, we're getting some questions. We should jump to questions here. Tank Sinatra is asking, Instagram will be connecting brands and creators, basically acting as an agency. Maybe I can grab this one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so we're still working on it, but right now this kind of just all goes down in the DMs. Like creators just get messaged by brands. Sometimes all that happens off platform. Deals happen. I worry some people are getting overpaid, some people are getting underpaid. We just want to help facilitate that in a responsible way. So you can imagine being a brand and saying like, look, this is what I want. I want to reach 20-year-olds, women in this country, or I want to I don't know, whatever it is, whatever they're trying to get done. And then they could tell us, and then we could be like, all right, here's like 50 creators that you should talk to. And then, yeah, you can facilitate them. We can make it easier to connect, et cetera. And then from the creator side, we would love to help creators vet brands. I don't know how that would work. There's a bunch of ways we could do that, but um, you can get there's some bad companies out there and you can get ripped off, but there's some great ones too. And so anything we can do to help you vet brands, find brands that are looking for creators, but that also resonate with what you care about, because we know you don't want to rep something that you don't love. I think there's tools on both sides. So we want to do a lot on both sides. Taylor Lorenz is in here. Here she is. What is Instagram doing to create more transparency to branded content ecosystem? Do you want to take this or do you want me to take this one?
I mean, go for it. I mean, I think that the marketplace that we're gonna build is gonna be quite helpful on this. I mean, right now, I think one of the things that we're seeing is that it's just it's pretty opaque. I think both for how creators should engage in it and if a creator makes a deal to do something, what the transparency is around that to consumers and people using Instagram. So part of the benefit of building a marketplace around this is just to kind of bring a little bit more order to the space. And by creating a little more of a standard, we think that we'll be able to make it so that both it's more accessible for creators, that they can make more money, and it's easier to engage in. But also part of the benefit of that is going to make it so that there can be a little more clarity for the people using the products, and I think that could be helpful too.
Yeah, I think transparency all the way around, right? I think people need to know when they're seeing branded content. Brands need to know their return on their investment, and creators need to know, who it's resonating with and who it's not. So the more we can. Here's a good one though. Adam the creator.
Yeah,
Can
I
I
saw
design
this.
you a new board with the sunblock meme on it?
All right, if you do that, I will use it and I will send you a photo, and you can kind of have exclusive rights to posting that. So, um,
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. Man, they're going by really fast. It's hard.
yeah.
Here's one that I can take. What do your rules apply to some people but not others? And can people buy their way out of rules? No. We have community guidelines and community standards, what is allowed to be on the platform and not. We try to be as permissive as we can because we think it's important for people to be able to express themselves. But when it comes to safety issues, we draw a line, and you can't buy your way out of that. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we take something down we shouldn't. Sometimes we should take down something and we miss it. Mark has been, I think, as hard on or has pushed as hard as anybody else in the company at making sure we make less mistakes over time. But I do want to be honest that we do, but we are getting, I think, a lot better. But no, you can't buy your way out of a problem.
Yeah. Hey, Adam, one question that I think would be interesting to, I mean, I'm kind of interested to hear you talk about this too, is this has come up over the last several days since I did this Discord chat with Casey Newton, and there's been a bunch of talk about how do we help create a creator middle class instead of just all of the just a big head basically of kind of the most successful creators getting to be huge. I think this is a really important topic because again, I mean, our goal that you and I have discussed a lot is being able to support millions of jobs for creators doing this kind of work, and you don't do that if it's just a few people. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear how you think we should do this. Just like we support small businesses, primarily more than big companies and building their businesses on Facebook and our different apps. What are the different things that you think are going to be important to doing that with creators?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think historically, Instagram specifically has done better creating value for creators who are already established, and we haven't done as well with aspiring and experimenting creators. People are trying to just get started. And I think that's a big miss on our part. We're trying to really pivot towards that. So most all of our work on creators is focused on the small creators who are, the next generation of the creators. I think that people who think are going to push culture into the future. I think the Facebook app team, who we've been working with really closely, is doing the same. I think the question is like, how do we make sure we build for them, right? And so like for instance, the branded content marketplace is a good example. Currently, because there's no measurement on the ad side, just to get a little businessy for a second, brands tend to go with big creators they know, but they probably overpay them and they probably underpay and don't often work enough with the smaller creators. So if we can help matchmake, we can help, drive some more, in this case, money, dollars to the smaller creators who I think can do amazing work for brands. So we're trying to find more areas like that where we can actively build with small creators in mind first. Another good example is ranking, right? Reels is the first part of Instagram that is proactively trying to find new talent and help it break. Whereas historically, we just kind of go with whatever's got a lot of engagement, or who already is established. And I want to bring what we're doing in Reels to the rest of Instagram. So you just have to understand their needs directly and build for them directly. And I think we got to do that across the whole family.
Yeah, and I think the affiliate piece will be very helpful for this too, because
Yeah,
a lot of time if you're an emerging creator, just like if you're a small business, um, it's not like you don't maybe start out with as big or established of a brand that the big companies are kind of going out of their way to associate with, um, but by showing that you can, the loyalty that people have to you, right? That they, that your followers uh, follow your recommendations, and that you can help drive sales. I mean, that's ultimately going to be the type of thing that larger companies want to associate with. So I think through the affiliate program that we're talking about building up in the marketplace there around commerce, I think that will also give signal for who are going to be the people who brands should want to be associated more with. And so in a way, these things kind of all connect to each other.
yeah. Here's one different idea, but on connections. Are there plans to share Reels to Facebook stories? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
trying to think about Reels across Facebook and Instagram. Actually, we're currently testing a deep integration in the country of India, which has been going really well. So we want to make it so that no matter what app you use, you can connect with the Reels or whatever content you find the most exciting or entertaining or valuable. So we're definitely trying to make that as seamless as possible.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I think that the goal on this is definitely, I mean, if you're a creator, we want to make it so that as easily as possible, you can get as much distribution as possible, right? So, and this is when I was talking about, at a high level, there's creation tools, there's basically distribution, getting your content out there, and then getting paid for it. I mean, those are three of the main pillars, and I think we'll want to innovate on all of them, and of course, making it so that you can have a presence across the different apps and be able to easily create something in one place and share it in a bunch and have that work together well. I think it's going to be really exciting. One of the specific things that I think that you and I have talked about that I think that'll feel really good and I think be an interesting indicator across the apps is we can get to some sort of like shared like count or engagement count across it or view count.
yeah,
So now, because I think some people look at that, especially for public content, as a signal for how popular or how good this thing is. And if you can get a sense, both as the creator and your own analytics around, how big these things, how the different content that you're creating is doing, but then also individuals across the different platforms can have that shared sense. I think that that'll really be a useful signal and make that a lot better.
yeah, yeah. And the more we can just make that transparent and easy, and then it's the creator's choice, and they can just make it work for them based on whatever they want to do. I think the better.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up with these comments. I haven't gone live with you before. I'm glad you're on Instagram, by the way. I'm gonna give you a little bit of grief and try to get you on here more. It's part of the family, part of the family.
I use
Um,
I use Instagram every day, and probably even more in some cases than I use Facebook. But I have to say, when I post stuff and like, if I kind of coordinate posting things across both, then everyone kind of gives me grief for it's like this is like too orchestrated. But then if I just
yeah,
post and so I don't know. I guess
you
that's
can't
that's
win.
kind of
You
yeah.
can't win.
But
You can't
but but
win.
yes, you're right. I should be posting more stuff here. Happy to do a live here. It's fun.
Adam the creator wants to know what happened to the poke. Can we bring the poke back?
Um, I mean, the poke is awesome. I think that poke was like in the very first. I built the first version of Facebook in a couple of weeks when I was in school, and there weren't many features. There were profiles. There wasn't newsfeed yet, so it's kind of hard to imagine these kind of social apps without newsfeed. We didn't have that. We also I didn't add messaging until like the second week it was live. But we had poke from the beginning, um, and that was I don't know. I always thought it was fun. But yeah,
Did we have an
I
app?
think
Did
it's
we
I
make
think
an
it's a good
app
idea.
called poke briefly? I feel like there was like a no. What was that app called?
What
Oh
was that?
man, we made an app called Poke, didn't we? in like 2015. I don't even remember everything
Yeah,
else. There
well, it
was
was
like a
the first version. I think that it was like the first version of stories that we made, right? Of
oh
ephemeral messaging.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean, it was just it is kind of exploring that new format it was coming out, and yeah, I mean, I think it's yeah, there's been a lot of fun to have around that, but I think that yeah, it's a good idea. We should figure out how to do that.
nice. Yeah, I like. I mean, it was like it was, and this was college, right? There was only this is when Facebook was just for college. It was part of. It's like flirting, basically. It's just like a core part of like social interaction.
Yeah.
Are we thinking about an option to go live on both Facebook and Instagram? Yeah, we'd love to do that. Right now, we are just making sure both run really, really well, and are built on the similar stack so that that's possible. But that's the kind of thing we want to be able to support long term. All right, you could do. Well, how much time do we got? Maybe one or two more questions. We could also popcorn someone in if you're feeling like you want to take a risk here. You never know what you're gonna get. Looks like
Yeah.
we'll do one more question. Ask a hard one, group. What's your favorite Instagram feature? That's not a hard one. That's for Mark though. Well, while I look for a real question, or you can buy some time for me here.
I mean, favorite feature. I mean, I don't know. I kind of I like explore. I mean, I think it's a pretty neat dynamic to just like have Instagram surface interesting stuff to you. We're kind of going in that direction with Reels too. I think that'll be quite good. Um, yeah.
Here,
Um,
here's a new one. I got a new one for you. We actually are um, building a video mute feature.
oh yeah, there
So
you go.
there you go. So you can maybe like if your kid runs in, or if the alarm on a car across the street goes off, you can mute your audio so that if I keep talking, and then now I'm back again. So there we go.
Although,
There's a little
yeah,
one.
the thing that I'm really excited about that is by the time, I mean, as part of the audio tools that we're building, some of the stuff that we're going to work on is trying to take audio, even if it's lower quality from a phone, and basically upsample it to make it better. And I know that there's a bunch of teams and folks who are working on technology to segment kind of background noise from your voice and foreground. So hopefully in the future you won't even have to mute on that. But we're not there
Yeah,
yet. For now, we have mute, which is
yeah,
may not be it
baby
may not
steps.
be the best feature of Instagram, but it's certainly one of the newest features of Instagram, and
It's not out
maybe from
yet.
that
It's good.
perspective is useful to talk about.
Yeah, I was figuring I'm just looking for a way to plug something coming out later this week, I think. One of the things when you work here, you're always experimenting with the new tools before other people see them, and you sometimes forget
All right,
people.
you
All
you
right,
want
let's
to you
pull
want
in
to bring
Tank.
you want
Tank
to
Man.
popcorn someone in?
Yeah, let's pull in Tank because he's raising his hand here. But Tank Man, don't embarrass me in front of my boss, okay? Just we'll give you we'll give you this will be our last one. We'll ask you a question and then we'll wrap up. So I think you got to pull him in, Mark, because you're the host of this bad boy.
All
Or
right,
can I?
let's see. You should be able to, but let's see.
I should, but I'm having trouble with my Android. My team's gonna get upset about this.
All
I'm
right,
gonna take a picture.
I got you. Hey,
Ah, there he is. Is he very serious, or is he
well,
frozen?
it's a little of both.
I'm
It's
gonna
a it's
ruin
like a,
this. I'm gonna ruin this whole thing.
how's it
You
going?
just got frozen, and you were just like a total like angry face.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's a pretty good resting face.
This is better than being on Ellen.
Yeah.
Way better.
So Tank switched from memes to videos.
Yeah.
So he's been an amazing Instagrammer for a long time now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about? Oh, here you go. You get to ask me in front of my boss.
Ooh,
what would if you could change anything about Instagram? What would you change?
nothing, bro. You know that. I love Instagram with all my heart.
I gave you a layup. And
I,
the window's closed. I'm not
I
gonna
don't.
ask you again.
I go back and forth. I mean, I come from the era of the chronological feed, which I loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I loved the chronological feed. It was probably 3.5 years of just knowing exactly how something was going to perform within the first 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
And you get lost now in the sauce. Like I've, done stand-up comedy, and when you are trying to put together an act, which is basically what we're doing, trying to find out what works with our audience and what doesn't, it's hard to tell if your stuff is getting seen. You know what I mean? So I had DM'd you, and you had a great idea about likes, turning them off or on, giving people the option, because I understand having likes on, if you are a sensitive person, which I can be, I would like the option to turn them off sometimes. Or like the restrict feature is a great option. One of the best features in a long time that I've seen on Instagram, because I don't want to block people, because I don't want to let them know that they've won. You know
Plausible
what I mean?
deniability.
Yeah,
Plausible
exactly.
deniability.
I don't even know you exist. I'm just going to pretend this never happened. So to have the option for people to switch back from chronological to algorithmic feed, I think would be a nice option. But you guys, I have faith that you guys are doing the best that you know how for the 1 billion people that use the app. I'm one of, many creators, and we all talk, but my sample is limited. I talk to other creators, and we all know what we want, but the majority of people that use the app are not on it 8 hours a day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I have to trust you guys, which don't let us down. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
It's a
Yeah,
tough one. It's a tough one.
yeah.
I can talk about Chrono, or you can talk about it, Mark. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's obviously pros and cons with it, and we want to make sure that people have the option to use that. So I mean, that's something that we think about. But the biggest problem is, just like you were talking about how you don't want to block people, you want to restrict them. Um, the there's sort of a loss aversion that I think most people feel, where if you go into chronological mode, you're sort of giving this incentive to a lot of accounts to just spam a lot, right, and to post a lot of content, and then you're kind of putting this decision on most people, where they either have to decide, I'm going to unfollow this thing completely, or I'm going to deal with the fact that I'm getting a higher volume of stuff. And people have the loss aversion that you're talking about, where they don't necessarily want to. I guess the dynamic that you're talking about with plausible deniability is different from loss aversion, but just like people don't want to go all the way to blocking someone all the time, and a lot of time they don't want to unfollow someone because they feel like they might miss something that's good. So what we've found is that it ends up being a net worse experience, but there's certainly issues. I mean, I think the predictability that you're talking about is certainly something that's really important. And look, I mean, if we're talking about helping to support a creator economy where millions of people can have jobs doing creative work, part of supporting that is having the whole thing be a little more stable, right? It's like you can't have it so that you're it's so spiky, how things perform, and the money that you're making. And obviously some content is going to be better than others, and you also want good things to be able to kind of perform better and make more money. But I do think just making sure that the system feels transparent and has enough stability is just going to be an incredibly important part of supporting the creator economy overall.
Yeah, I felt the chronological timeline was a little bit more honest. It was more honest feedback. So like there's definitely pages out there that will post 30, 40 times a day, and believe it or not, they're still dominating the timeline. So instead of seeing 30 posts, you're seeing 8, 9, or 10. But if someone posts once or twice, you're seeing 0. You know what I mean? So they're still dominating the feed.
It depends. I mean, if that's
Yeah.
happening, that means that I'm not doing my job well on the ranking side. I think the thing, and then I know we're not going to agree on this because we've had this conversation before, but I think the key thing is what we found is that when we rank feed and we try to make the most of people's time by doing our best, and we make mistakes, but doing our best to show them what they're most interested in, they end up happier if we ask them like how how satisfied are you with Instagram or with Facebook. But they also end up using Instagram on Facebook more, which then ends up helping creators overall get more engagement.
Yeah.
So it increases
Yeah.
the overall pot. That's the
Yeah.
tension. But look, I hear you. I hear you. It's more complicated. It means that things are less stable. Like Mark said, we have to, like, if you're building a business, then like certainly stability is important. So never say never, but that's the thinking right now.
There have also been times where I've posted, something and it tanked and I deleted it, and then another thing and it tanked, I deleted it, and then like the third or fourth thing I posted, it killed, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't the algorithm. You sucked for 2 hours. Okay, got it.
Although I mean, time of day
So
and all that stuff matters too. So it's not just the content, but All right, I got a question for you though. While you're here,
Yeah.
what's it going to take to keep the memes coming though?
Yeah,
Which memes?
Just
your meme.
keeping them coming.
All of them?
Yeah. Well, no. It's like, I mean, we were talking about how we're moving from memes to video. I'm just like, I just
He
want
misses
to
the
make
meme.
sure.
As long as the world keeps turning, the memes will keep churning. So there was a point in time, like 2015, I was making, I mean, it was crazy. I was making like 10, 15 memes a day. And I was like, there's no way I can keep this up. This is I cannot keep this pace up. And then I started to slow down. And then in year three, I started to like really slow down. I was making like three or four, and I started to worry I was going to run out of content. And then I was like, you know what? As long as the world keeps staying the way it is, humor's been around since people could grunt. You know what I mean? People would point at something and be like, you know. So it's humor's always going to be something that I think attracts people to whatever platform it is, whether it was books or newspapers, TV, radio. Now it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. It's I just started making reels because um, I get indignant about my page sometimes, and when I feel like I'm losing control of my page and it doesn't belong to me anymore, I just shove my face in people's face. So that's what that was about. I just felt like people needed to know who I was or remember. Yeah, like I'm Tank Sinatra. So if you don't like it, you need to unfollow me. So the
You
memes are
do
coming
encourage
back.
people to unfollow you more than anybody else I follow, which I
What
appreciate.
what'd you say?
You encourage people to unfollow you more than anybody else I follow, which I appreciate, which I
Yeah,
really
if you're
appreciate.
not having a good time here, there's so many other pages that you can go follow. You know what I mean? There's so many. And if you feel like you miss me after a while, you're welcome to come back at any time. So that's how I feel. I unfollow and refollow people all the time.
Yeah, so do I. So
Yeah.
do I.
Thank you for
All
this.
right,
This was the highlight of my
This is
life.
awesome.
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah.
dialing
Well,
in,
thanks for
man.
stopping by, and
Thanks.
I love the content. So it's
I I don't know how to
big
get
fan.
out of here. So you guys are
We're
gonna have
gonna
to
Well, I
figure
think
me
we're
out.
gonna wrap up the whole thing. So um, that's
You're
that's a
like my
good point.
mother-in-law when she FaceTimes my kids. She's like, "Hang up on me."
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up overall, but this is good. All right. Good seeing you.
All
All
right.
right, thanks for
Bye.
coming, Mark. Thanks for coming, Tank.
All right. See you guys.